from the side, ref.
Welcome back to In From the Side, another week, another show, and welcome back to my co-host and partner in crime, Matthew Rhodes. How's it, buddy? How are you doing?
Yeah, good buddy, good. I'm out here in South Africa, just on a trip through to George via Hermanus, Greyton, Calitzdorp, and then on to George today. It's so hot, so I'm quenching my thirst, as you can see, enjoying the South African sun.
Yeah, it sounds shit, mate. I've been enjoying the rain in Bedford, the rain and cold. So yeah, I've got nothing to complain about.
I believe it is cold, dark, and dreary. So I'm sorry for that, buddy. But
yeah,
if it's any consolation, I'm enjoying for the both of us. And it's really, really good and nice to be a South African rugby supporter in South Africa right now in the sun.
I was just about to say that. That'll warm the heart, just like saying that out loud. We're South African supporters, and it is good to be a Bokke fan these days. And we're going to get into it, Matt. We're going to discuss the Springbok game at length. There's already so much being said. I know we're a little bit late to the show, but Matt's finally in a place where he's got internet, so we can do the show today.
I didn't realize.
But before we get into
beautiful places, has no Wi-Fi whatsoever. So sorry about that, brother. Anyway.
Well, now we know. But we're back online. And before we get into the show, just a quick reminder to the folks out there. Remember, we are moving our show from the Real Rugby channel onto our new channel, In From the Side, that is on YouTube. So if you haven't done so yet, go now. Click on the link in the description below. Go and subscribe on the new channel. We're going to start phasing out these videos and moving over to the new channel in the new year. But for now, our videos every week will be on both channels, but if you can show some love and support on the new channel, we want to get that growing in the new year. That'll be great. So, Matt, I saw Victor Matfield said this was the greatest performance by the Springboks this year. It's debatable because we saw a fantastic second half against Argentina in Durban, and then obviously that drubbing of the All Blacks in Wellington. So, just the Boks, man, they have hit their stride, and the rugby that they're dishing up is just a feast to behold.
Yeah, look, I think the first half we weren't really at our best. I wouldn't say that we played to our greatest strengths. We were employing a kind of kick chase game plan that was working at times and wasn't working so great at others. But we were in it. We were in the game, and it was a bit scrappy, and it was touted as the revenge match for the French, and how they were going to prove a point and prove to us that they obviously were better than us, as they've been claiming for so long. And when they scored that first try, I thought we were in a bit of trouble. And what I was very impressed with the boys, even though we were playing a bit of ugly rugby in the first half, where we weren't at our best as we have been in like those games that you described before, especially against like New Zealand, we stuck in it. We were in the game, we were there and thereabouts, we were being a menace, and like, while it wasn't pretty at times, we were still, somewhat neck and neck with them. And then when the red card happened, which I'm sure we'll talk to, I thought, 40 minutes playing against this French team, after the way they played in that first half, we're going to struggle. And the boys just came out and played an amazing second half. I think, for the next 20 minutes, the third quarter, they just stuck in it. Like they made the French play. We played as good as they did with 14 men. It didn't look like we were a man down at times, and our forwards and our maul and the tries that we got as a consequence, they showed that. But the last 20 minutes, they just seemed to be dead on their feet. And we rose to the occasion. We then all of a sudden found our best, and with 40 men on the field, I think we entered the 22 6 times and scored 4 tries in the last sort of 20 minutes, half an hour. So yeah, man, I think you can debate it's one of the best games that the Springboks have played this year. I don't know if it's the best, because there were some outstanding games before, but there was some to be able to beat the French in France with. They had a man advantage, and to do it in that style, it's up there. It really is.
No, it is because we were up against it, right? But I think it's France's own fault. You know, if you think back what happened over the last couple of months, they sent a B team, a second string squad to New Zealand. They were
Yep.
competitive in, some parts of that series, but they were never going to win that series, and they lost 3-0. It is glaringly obvious that without Antoine Dupont, they are very fallible. And that's something that they need to figure out. It's like they try to compete with us up front, and they've got these exciting backs. Like, apart from that first 20 minutes, where Peno scored two fantastic tries, he was hardly in the game for the rest of the game. BRE never got into the game. Ramos, he tried his best, but it's as if Dupont is the only guy that can unlock that back line. And when he's not playing, they're very, very beatable, and that's an issue. That's something that Galtier's got to work on. But I think people underestimate the genius of Rassie. Like, there's not a coach on this planet that understands his group of players and the type of game they want to play better than Rassie Erasmus, because not only did he pick the French 23 in the lead up to the game. I don't know if you saw that, Matt. He predicted it on Twitter. He put out 23 names and said, that's the team. And spot on, he got all 23 right. Not only that, but he also said, the game's going to be so intense, we might get a red card in this game. He called it. He literally said to his team, we should be ready for something like that. And he knew, like, whether it's Sia's 100th game, it doesn't matter who we lose, they would have thought about that as part of the selection. And the balls of the man to just go half-time and say to Sia, sorry, I know it's your 100th test, but, we got a red card. It's Lood. We've got to get Ruan on and exert that set-piece dominance. And Sia was like, cool. Now, if anyone ever questions Sia's leadership, that is a sign of a true leader. Someone that will sacrifice his ego and his achievement for the greater good of the team. I mean, if you ever doubted how good a captain he is, he just proved it again on Saturday. Absolutely unbelievable from Sia to just... And he was the biggest cheerleader from the sidelines. If you see that last 20 minutes, he was just cheering the guys on. He was unbelievable off the field.
Yeah, man. I watched Tony Brown getting interviewed after, and him being questioned about, what he sees with this team in comparison to, others that he's coached and seen over the world. And he said how they sacrifice for each other. And, epitomized by Sia in his 100th game. There's a lot of ego attached to that for sure. It's a special moment. I think his family had flown over to France to be there. You want to put in a shift. And as you say, they approached him. They talked about, what the team needs over his particular needs individually. And your man just was like, happy days. And then stood there and vocalized his love and support for the team to get them over the line, and showed that leadership, as you say. So, yeah, I don't think anyone can question it. You and I, and if you haven't watched it, go back and look. We have him on our Mount Rushmore for South African sevens, or at least for South African flankers in that position. So, and it's because there's only 9 people that have done 100 tests, and he pitches up and he shows up and he plays with a lot of courage and heart. But when the team needs supersede his own, he doesn't blink an eye. That's amazing.
Absolutely amazing. My favorite clip from the weekend, I don't know if I sent it to you, but it was Sia, and they had a mic close to him, and he was just standing on the sideline shouting to the team, boys, they fucked. Look at them, they fucked. Yeah. Sasha, go.
To coming back from apparently hopeless positions, these Springboks have form. There is something about the green and gold jersey which tonight...
it was the best. He just knew, like, France, he wasn't. They were out on their feet, and they just couldn't contend with us at the end of it, which was amazing to see. And the fact that
So I think Sasha's try is indicative of that, right? Where you could see that maybe, there's an argument that Peter Steff is holding up play and preventing the tackle, but he actually wasn't, because I think it was the center that he was running around, and anyone running wide and on a cover should be able to make that tackle, and Sasha just burns him on the outside, right, with space. Didn't even get a hand on him, and he goes and dots down, and you just think to yourself, wow, that was in reality that was a really soft try, because they should have been able to make the tackle, and it wasn't Peter Steff's fault. He wasn't disrupting play. Sasha just burned it, and it was because they were all fucked and all of them burned out, with nothing in the tank. And so, I think we said this before last week. They've really got their excuses. They don't have Aldrit, they don't have Anton DuPont, and so they'll be like, well, we went at full strength. That was a full strength team, and again, coming back to your point, Rusty picking the 23, that's the best of the best that they had. Very Jose Mourinho-esque when Jose Mourinho picked the Chelsea team and the Barcelona team that were going to play against each other, and 100% both of them walked out exactly as he'd picked it. Great managers know who they're going to have matchups against, who they're going to play, and if they were in the other coach's shoes, who they would pick as a consequence of who's available. And Rusty had his making. So, great strategy, great teamwork, selfless play, really good, dogged play to stay in it. I think that's important. And we're going to talk on another. We're doing 2 episodes this week. Obviously, we're doing South Africa as a focus, this one, and we're going to do the other games as a secondary. But I think there were other teams who, Italy being one of them, just stuck in it. And South Africa did that all the way until the legs of the French were just burnt out. And then they just put on the, into 5th gear, 4 tries, an amazing performance.
Yeah. No, but again, it comes down to that comment I made earlier. Like, Rusty knows the team, and he knew fitness-wise, stamina-wise, and with the bench coming on, with the bomb squad coming on, no one can compete with us. So if you just stay in the game, if you stay within, I would say, stay within 7 points with 20 to go, I'd back the Boks to beat anyone. Like, we can be trailing with 20 minutes to go against any team in the world, and we'll find a way to win. And that is a sign of a championship team. I remember the Bulls back in the Super Rugby days when we won Super Rugby. They did that. They won a couple of games always in the last minute and ultimately won the tournament. And this Bok team has got the same sort of ability to just find a win. But in this case, not even just find a win, fucking whip the French, which was amazing to see. And that with 14 players. So talking about 14 players, let's talk about the red card, Matt.
I think, mate, Lood has a tendency to kind of lead with his head. I feel like it's really unfair. The man's 6'7", his knees were on the ground. I don't know how much lower he could go. There were extenuating circumstances. There was mitigating circumstances. Your man was in a tackle and dipping. He did have one arm out. The other wasn't wrapping. There's, you could look at it and go, did he intend to hit him head on head? No. Should he have maybe, managed that action better? Yes, but I don't think it was a straight red. I think a yellow card, bunker review, and then for them, actually there's mitigating circumstances. Your man was dipping. We'll keep it as a yellow. If it had gone, we're going to upgrade to a red, I would have been like, that's pretty hard done by. I can see, but a straight red, I think that's an OTT.
I think no, I totally agree with you. I think a straight red is over the top. The intent wasn't there. It wasn't dirty play. It wasn't malicious. He went in for the tackle. If Ramos was on his feet, he hit him, in the lower rib around the waist area, and it would have been a perfect tackle. But because Reiner went in with a tackle, Ramos dips, and things happen quickly. And mate, let me tell you, as a big guy playing touch rugby on Wednesdays, changing direction as a big guy is not easy. And I can't imagine that Lood is already committing to make the tackle and now suddenly needs to pull out or adjust his height or whatever. If he's committed, he's going to make that tackle. So the timing was rough, and I think it was reckless. Let's just be honest. It was a little bit reckless of him. But
he could have managed
if you
it
go
better.
back and you watch in slow-mo,
in a different place.
I actually think he wanted to wrap... Yeah, but I actually think he wanted to wrap with his left arm. And if you see what happens, Ramos blocks Lood's left arm with his arm. And it actually blocks Lood from wrapping his arm. And then it looks like he's leading with the shoulder. So again, I don't think the intent was there to hit him with the shoulder. I think they got that completely wrong. And I think the issue for me is not that they... Yeah?
There's a slight delay here, brother. So you might have to just cut this. But I was going to say that's why for me a bunker review would have been ideal, because they could have continued for the next 10 minutes to watch it and then see everything that you and I are now talking about and that we've seen retrospectively and gone, no, he was looking to, but to make the call as an immediate red, I think that's harsh, and also the implications thereafter in terms of the ban that he receives. Like, it's, any kind of straight red, when you've got the review system there, I don't understand why they didn't use it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it almost feels like Angus Gardner was talked into it. I don't think he wanted to give that a straight red. But you're right. If they upgraded that yellow card to a red card, I would have been okay with it and said, yeah, I can understand. He hits him. He's on his knees. He hits him in the head with a shoulder. Same thing happened to Sam Cane in the World Cup final. So I can't bitch and moan about it. But at least then after 20 minutes, we could bring a sub on, right? And I think that was the big thing, is we had to play with 14 men. In the end, it didn't really matter. My issue is the inconsistency with his disciplinary committees. Like, how does Tag Burns' red card from last week get rescinded? It gets stricken off the record. It's like he never received a red card, right? His record is clear. But Lood, there's also mitigating factors. I know it's not a like-for-like comparison, and it's maybe not a fair comparison, but Lood suddenly gets a 4-week ban on top of the red card. I find that absolutely ludicrous. If there's mitigation, which there is, Ramos goes down onto his knees, he blocks Lood's left arm with his arm. You can all see it in slow-mo if they had time to review it. I think he served his punishment by being off the field, and I think 4 weeks it's ludicrous. It's the same as the Jan-Hendrik Wessels issue. I don't want to dig that up, but I don't know why South African rugby players get harsh punishments, and we just don't see that with the rest of the world. It's ridiculous.
Because everybody hates us, and we don't care. Like, that's the reason why. Is everyone hates us, and we don't give a shit. It's like, fine, but like, because we keep proving people wrong, and we keep proving doubters wrong. With our wins and our performances. And so we've had a few speed bumps along the way over the last year, as we've discussed. But we keep taking names and taking wins, taking the W. So it's a tough one. It's hard for him. I'm really sorry for him, but at the same time, he could have managed that whole process better. Don't lead with your head. Get your head out the way. Tackle with your shoulder. It all happens so fast. He's a big lump of a man. There's so many things you can consider. I think he's hard done by, and I genuinely think that the 4-week ban afterwards is an it's an overreach. Again, because Ramos stayed on the field. There was no HIA.
Yeah,
he stayed on the field after. There was
the HIA. I keep saying that if they want to send people off for dangerous tackles, then he has to go for a head injury assessment, 100%. If it's that serious, and then if it's fine, then why a red card?
Exactly. You can't run into someone's head with another head, send that player off for dangerous, and then that person's like, "Oh, no, I'm fine." It's like, well, then it couldn't have been that dangerous, and/or.
Then where's the danger? Where's the high degree of danger? Yeah.
No, we can argue.
Anyway, Matt, we're moving on. Fantastic win by the Springboks. We deserve to win with 14 men. Amazing for Sia on his 100th test, Rassie on his 50th. This team continues to grow. Great all-round team performance. But who was your standout player on the weekend? Who was your MVP for the Bokke?
Look, mate, I think Sasha. I think he struggled a little bit in the first half. Like, he played well. Rassie and the boys wanted to give him that exposure at the top level, which is why they didn't pick Andre and they put Mani on the bench. Obviously, the dynamic of the game with the French going up so quickly, them being toe-to-toe for a lot of the game, I think he didn't look as comfortable as he has looked in other games previously. And yet, when he went to 15, Mani came on at 10, I think for some reason it just shored him up. He seemed to be able to read the game with a bit more time and space from the back, run into play really, really well. I still think he was MVP. I think he was actually made man of the match on the day. And so I think for me, he deserved that. He had a good try, 2 tries, a try at least. I'm trying to think back. But I think he was very effective in the game. and so he was worthy of that. I just think that when he went to 15, he seemed to like get into the game more, and he could affect himself more.
Yeah.
Whereas when he was playing at 10, and we only had 14, he seemed like he was a bit under pressure. So that was my only comment on that front. But I think he was worthy of that MVP status for the day.
No,
for me,
I think he was good. I think, my MVP was Malcolm in the middle of the front row. I think the set piece fired. I can't remember that we lost one line out. He was solid in the scrums. Like, we dominated the scrum. In the loose, he was a menace. Won a couple of turnovers. He made all his tackles. He was just all over the field. He's the Malcolm that we've been sort of wishing for the whole year, and he's hit the form from 2017, 2018. He was amazing.
I don't know whether he watches the show or if someone sent him that particular clip, but we were saying how Malcolm Marx has been great, and sure, he had a bit of a, he lost a bit of the lineouts weren't functioning, and he wasn't getting the set piece right. And we were talking about him, about how amazing he is, and he's obviously on there for us, he's one of the all-time best. But we had a show a little while back where I said to you, one area that I think, as much as he's good in all those areas, scrumming up front, and, the one area that he's not done well at for a little while, which I'd like to see him get back to, is the jackling. He's not done that for a while, and that's a key part of his game that he was so good. And we said that, and then since then, your man has been making turnover after turnover and like winning penalties for us at the breakdown and being an absolute jackling menace. So again, I don't want to take any credit. Yeah, it's all on his shoulders, and all the applause go to him. But I'm just glad that he's found that gear within himself again, and he's using those tool sets to great effect, because we're seeing the benefits for it.
Yeah. Okay. So those are our MVPs for the week. Next up, Matt, it's the Italians in Turin. They're off the back of a massive upset against the Aussies. I thought it was an upset, but you picked it. You said Italy's going to beat Australia. I've got to give it to you, mate. You did pick them to win. Unbelievable game. We're going to cover that in our next show, but those are our next opponents. Should we be worried? Even they beat the Aussies, but I don't think we should be too worried.
Again, I want to give credit to them. I think what they did very, very well. They're a good team. Some really star players in there. They're a competent side. Good forwards, good running backs, good kicker as well at fly. So they've got danger within them. What I thought was really, really impressive against the Australians is they're just stuck in the game. They didn't let scoreboard pressure get on top of them. They didn't let it get too far beyond one try. They stayed in it. I think they went down 14 men like once or maybe even twice in the game. And again, they stayed in the game. They kept in the fight. And then they just turned it on. And the Australians just were, and we called this, they've been the only thing consistent other than Fraser Mack. The only thing consistent about Australia is their inconsistency. And so with their good performance, bad performance, good performance, bad performance, I had a feeling that, Italy would take a scalp there, and they did. So fair play to them. Cheers to them.
Yeah.
But that's where.
But we're not too worried about the Italians. Yeah, that's where it stops. So the team's only being announced tomorrow. We don't know who's going to play. But early days, Matt, I'm going to ask you to call it. Box by how many?
I reckon. So we got Andre coming back. We know that for a fact. At least so. Andre Pollard starting at 10, or at least on the bench. I think it'll be a very composed game. We'll be like riding a nice wave after beating the French, and all the bollocks that have been said over the last, since the World Cup about how, we were lucky. We smashed him, is what we did. We absolutely smashed him. So Italy can be very afraid of what comes into town this week. I think the boys are riding high. There's a lot of confidence. I reckon we're going to do them by at least 20, maybe even 30.
I agree. Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be another good weekend, and then we look forward to Ireland next week, but we'll get to that show. Matt, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much to everybody out there in YouTube land for joining us. We're going to do another show where we give you a wrap-up of the rest of the weekend's rugby, so stay tuned for that. And remember, if you haven't done so yet, please go and subscribe to the In From The Side YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. Thank you for your support. We'll see you on the other side. Cheers.
Yes.